Mike's Daily Podcast.
Finally doing a podcast this week on Valentine's Day because it's a day of love, and I'd love to
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Bring you this podcast. And I also like to sing a song at the beginning of every show. Have you thought of a place to go for your Valentine's Day evening with your lovely? I hope it's fun. I hope it's something that's not sucky. And I think we're going to get Indian food.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
That's the leaves that I have read, the tea leaves that I have read. Oh, maybe we'll have some tea. They have
Mike's
great tea at those places.
Daily
So Michael Sanchez
Podcast
is the one who leaked the info about Mr. Jeff Bezos. Yes, that would be Lauren Sanchez's brother. And that's his wife, right? I don't know. So basically, I get all my news now from my girlfriend. She, the lovely Lady Friend News Network, LLFNN. She's great because she just told me a whole story last night about a guy whose name was Wood. Was it Ed Wood? My favorite Tim Burton movie of all time? No. But some guy who apparently years ago donated sperm. The sperm becomes then children later on. And he had never met them. And he finally meets them, and it's a wonderful, heartwarming story. She read it completely off of her phone for me as I ate dinner last night. And that's how our pre-Valentine's Day went. Perhaps yours will be similar. I don't know. But I do know that today it is episode 100801 as my nose hit the boom. My nose hit the mic, and that's Mike's nose hit the boom. And that makes that sound. If you didn't hear it, it's called a boom that holds the mic. Hi, I'm Mike. The podcast picture today, whom Ariel's going to ask us about.
And here's today's podcast picture.
Trader Vic's in Emeryville. Yes. My lovely lady friend took this picture, and Trader Vic's is right there in the harbor of Emeryville. You look beyond it, you see Yerba Buena Island, you see Treasure Island, San Francisco, Alcatraz. It's a beautiful area of the Bay Area. Forget about trying to get around San Francisco. I was just talking to someone from a popular baseball team in the Bay Area. He is a broadcaster for it. He mentioned that he had heard since San Francisco's Basil's a sport. Is he a sports fan? I guess he is. He's barking his thoughts. But now, according to this guy, this radio guy, now San Francisco is going to have all these sports teams. What with the Giants and the Warriors and the others, and there's going to be no room in San Francisco to move. The traffic will be so bad. So now we are going to have quite a bit of craziness there in the city that never sleeps, the city by the bay, etc. I only bring that up because I was enjoying some wonderful news from my lovely lady friend about the thing with the... So someone I know... My lovely lady friend reads these stories off of like BuzzFeed, and I'm not a fan of clickbait news organizations. I don't like the clickbait thing. I especially hate it when I hit a clickbait and then I go, oh, you got me, dang it. But that being said, go to my website, MikesDailyPodcast1801.Flourishing, and click all you want. There's something like 1,801 shows to listen to. I think they're all up there on the... Actually, some of the links may not even go to a podcast anymore. Well, if that's what you notice, please let me know. 336MM Daily, or there's an email address, MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com. And I'll put that show up. Although I will tell you, back in the early days when I was first doing the show, I wrote too much stuff out ahead of time, and I think this is true of a lot of people that start podcasts or radio shows, talk shows particularly. They write everything out, and I was told when I first started in radio, you got to write everything out, Mike. And it just sounds so stoic. So just there's nothing of you in there. It's better when it's the brain actually talking. Who knows what you're going to get, right? Am I right? Gosh, there's this one talk show host I know who goes, right? All the time. At the end of every sentence, he says on the air, right? As if to say, are you still listening to me? You're still listening to me, right? Ugh. So this Michael Sanchez guy apparently is a low-level Hollywood manager. Just the type of person to be a source for National Enquirer. Yes. Ooh, and I love how the news has as their, big story of the day. Well, I talked to this one news guy, and he was like, "Oh yeah, Kamala Harris. She's not going to get anywhere because she dated that guy Willie Brown from San Francisco back when she was really young." And now the latest is Tupac Shakur. Apparently, she's wrong about she couldn't have possibly listened to Tupac Shakur back when she was in college because she was in college actually in the early to mid 80s, and he was not a well-known artist at that time. He may not have even been rapping yet. So that whole thing, and apparently she smoked marijuana. So that's all they got. I find that lame. The stories that I hear. That's why I try not to talk about this news stuff anymore, but instead talk about change. There's a lot of change going on in my world right now. My job. Someone's going to be leaving who's been at my job for a long time. He's been there way before me. He taught me how to do my job at the job that he's leaving, that job. And change. How do we deal with change? We need a certain amount of change in our lives because we get bored easily. Our brains, when we go into boredom mode, then we go into a state of complete vegetation and uselessness and don't get anything done. And we don't grow anymore. I think change, in many ways, means growth. As we go outside of Café Anyway, we're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcaster Valley, Mont. Growth is good. We need to grow as human beings. And yes, change means, wrinkles. Bursitis, osteoporosis, your hips got to be replaced, diabetes and all that. Hopefully it's change for the good. I'm hoping it's growth change, not the opposite. But that's what the way we should look at change, is embrace it and something new. And we all change every day. We change. The Mike Matthews today here on Valentine's Day 2019 is way different from Valentine's Day 2013. I will tell you, that was not a good year for me romantically, with a divorce and all that. So yes, things change, and that's good. We need a little change, and I've always tried to embrace change. It scares me at first. When I first heard that this guy was leaving, someone who's been on my show recently, by the way, I thought, oh no, what? But then we work out new ideas, new thoughts, and come up with, I think it helps us. I think it helps our brains, too. Our brains don't become mush anymore. They say to keep your brain nice and working right and not getting the Alzheimer's and all that early on. They say, change up your routine. Instead of driving this way to work, drive this other way to work. And the thing I used to see all the time on the Travel Channel with the restaurants, they go to these old restaurants. Hey, they've been serving the same food since 1901. And people would be there going, yeah, I ate here, my daddy's daddy ate here, and my daddy's and they go, I get the same thing every time. To me, that's not growth. That's just death. And that's not good. You gotta grow. You gotta try something else. Try a different restaurant. Get the hell out of that restaurant. Go, run, and find something else. But do come back to Café Anyway every day for Mike's Daily Podcast, even though I wasn't very daily this week. I think I missed 3 days in a row. Yikes. And I'm going to miss 2 days in a row, 3 days in a row for this weekend because my lovely lady friend's birthday is on President's Day. Hey, there's some people here outside of Café Anyway.
Hello, Mike Matthews. It's Chely Shoehart, gift shop supervisor. I hate change.
You want everything to stay the same and be boring? The same thing day in, day out, Groundhog's Day? That was recently.
Yeah, Mike Matthews, that sounds good.
Okay, look who else is here. Oh, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman. And this is John Deere, the engineer. I like Trader Vic's, except their food's too expensive. It is. And yes, usually I would play if you're offended, that's the way the cookie crumbles. But I'm not, because it's change, everyone. And deal with it. Next show, it'll be the wonderful Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster. Thanks for listening.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!